Okay, y'all, this is the second half of the book, chapter 7 through 19. Y'all, come and support my channel, If you like the content that I put out and you want me to continue doing this content, support my channel. Cash App, Slay and Pray with 2 Ys. Okay, y'all, let's get into it. Chapter 8, Kidada. Actress, model, and fashion designer Kidada Jones was Tupac Shakur's fiancée and is the daughter of record producer Quincy Jones and actress Peggy Lipton. Being around other celebrities was just a part of life. Meeting Kidada was just one of those events, and as time went on, we became close. We hung out together, went shopping, and so on. It was about the same time I met Kimura. Those were the days, or so I thought. We always had girl talk, and the fact that she was dating someone I had previously been with wasn't a source of contention. We didn't get jealous of each other. It was just girl talk stuff. No, I did not become intimate with Kidada. Kimura was just too jealous for that. Yes, Kidada knew about Kimura, Sean, and I all being sexually together. Of course she did. We shared that kind of things. We were open and honest with each other about almost everything. A true friendship, except I couldn't be open and honest about everything. Not anymore. Sean made sure of that. Kidada and Pac were the greatest couple. He was always so cool and yes, sexy. She was so beautiful and fun. Before all the tension and beef, we used to all hang out together. It was always dope vibes. But with Pac's shooting and suspicious surrounding Sean and Jimmy, the vibes between Kidada and I weren't always perfect. Then came that night. Award shows weren't anything new for us at this point. We dolled up as the men, groomed. We didn't choose what we wore. A stylist prepared our color palettes, a makeup artist did our makeup, and a stylist did our hair. This was just the way of things. We shared the best stylist in the business. Sometimes we could all go to the studio for an event to get our measurements taken, but this time Kidada seemed different. I felt like something was wrong, but when I probed her, she wouldn't say anything. Then the day of the event was here. We would all see each other inside. Even though Sean was my man, as far as props, I had nothing on Kidada. Being Quincy Jones' daughter had perks, and stardom was among them. Pac wasn't there. When she saw us, she came over to our table. We sat around kicking it in a very dope vibe. Sean knew he was going to clean up this award show. He had all but taken over the East Coast musically. But with all the hits, there was really no way he wouldn't. Bad Boy is Hall of Fame stuff now. And Sean P. Diddy Combs knew it. Sean smiled at Kidada as she sat at our table, but something about that smile didn't seem authentic. Soon, I would know why. He's sick when he has a grudge against someone. As she sat, Sean said, "Bad Boy is gonna clean the fuck up." From this table, with faith, Chris replied, "Hell yeah. And that new shit we busting out gonna have these niggas sick." Kidada signaled for the waiter to pour a glass of ginger ale and sat over at her table. As the waiter refreshed her drink, she said, "Pac's music gonna get some love too." Sean grimaced. "Oh, come on, Sean. I know y'all got y'all differences, but you have to admit the man makes great music." Sean looked at me at the corner of his eye and then took another sip of his favorite cognac and replied, "Bad Boy got the hottest music on the fucking planet, but I ain't tripping. Everybody gotta get their shine, right?" Kidada sighed. "Sean, Tupac thinks you were involved with him getting shot. You two were close. You need to make this right." Sean responded indignantly. "Why the fuck would that nigga think I had anything to do with it?" Kidada retorted. "Sean, can you blame him? Sean was obviously not happy with that question by his reply. Hell yeah, I blame him. We had a good thing going. All of us. That nigga turned on me and he has the fucking balls to blame me for his shooting. The indignity he manages to spew out while lying through his teeth was something I did not expect. I was thrown back for a moment before interjecting. Do we have to do this tonight? It's Sean's big night. Kamora heard the ruckus and made her way over to our table as well. She sat down and said, "Hey, everybody," with that big dimpled smile. I smiled and replied, "Hey." Kidada also seemed happy to see her as she said, "Hey, what up, Kimmy?" Kamora never was the type to hold her tongue, went straight at it. The whole place is buzzing with the fact you're sitting here, accusing Sean of having Pac shot. Y'all kinda, Lord, loud. She laughed. Kidada seemed embarrassed as she looked around to see everybody staring and whispering, but she wasn't about to back off. In fact, she doubled down. Anybody here not talking about it ain't real anyway. We all know Sean was behind it. Kamora forced a smile. Honey, we don't have to do this here. Kidada made clear she was not to be silenced as she continued. Oh, let's not hurt the feelings of Sean Puffy Combs. He only had one of the most prolific rappers in the game shot. Sean clenched his hands into his fists. If this was anyone else, this would have turned ugly. But this was Quincy Jones' daughter. Sean was a monster in the streets, feared by men that knew, but he did not want any of the smoke Quincy Jones could bring. Kidada could continue with impunity. Sean could not touch her. Christopher and Mary, both wanting to defend the super producer that made them famous, both started to stand and make their way over to the table. But Sean signaled them off with a firm motion of his hand. They remained in their seats, watching helplessly. Kidada seemed to be on a full rampage. You're not safe in the street, Sean. You think you're untouchable? Kimura seemed almost red in the face when she grabbed Kidada by the hand, saying, I gotta go to the restroom. Kidada, not willing to stop, snatched her hand away, yelling, Let go of me. Kimura needed her to get a grip and said sternly, as a parent speaking to a child mid-tantrum, Da, Kidada, turned and yelled at her, What? Kimura nodded towards the crowded room, and Kidada looked around. Here, she deflated slightly. Kimura, now in control, spoke firm but softly. Let's go powder our nose. Kidada nodded with a grimace and gave a sharp look back at Sean as she walked away. As attention slowly melted away, I asked Sean, You okay? Sean didn't reply at first. He looked around and saw that no one was really paying attention now that the ruckus had died down, and stood to get a picture of ginger ale from Kidada's table. He poured himself a drink from it and looked around again, saw no one was paying attention, and put the picture under the table. What was he doing? I then heard the distinct sound of liquid being poured into liquid. Oh my God, is he peeing in the pitcher? He smiled at me as he brought the pitcher back from under the table and finally replied to me, I'm good. He stood and returned the picture to the table. I was in awe. I knew he had a bad temper, but this was disgusting. I'll never eat or drink something after we have an argument again. Kidada and Kimura made their way back to Kidada's table to sit. As Sean watched on quietly, Sean made small talk. Which songs do you think they'll give me awards for? As Kidada poured her drink, Sean's bodyguard made his way over to the table. I think that he stopped her from drinking, as everyone else just sat and watched. Jean risked incurring Sean's wrath. If I'm right, I replied, Babe, your catalog is crazy. It could be a lot of songs. Sean glared at Kidada's table the entire night. Chapter 9. Going back to Cali. We had a wild night. It was after one of Sean's infamous parties. Everyone was there, and we not only had threesomes, but we also swapped partners. Our sex life was crazy, but I got to do things with Sean and I would never been able to do with straight men. Sean cared about me, but it was becoming more and more obvious that he preferred men. I was beginning to think I was there more to cover his wild desires than because he really wanted to be with me. He was like Caesar, every woman's man and every man's woman. But truthfully, at the same stage, I was becoming okay with it. I woke up and left the bedroom where I was with Jada Pinkett, and Sean happened to be coming out of the bedroom with Blank and Will Smith. And yes, Blank attended the parties from time to time. I could see him and Will kind of snuggled up on the bed together. I was grateful I wasn't asked to join in that room. I didn't really like Blank. Sean smiled when he saw me. Good morning. Here at the orgies, he wasn't very affectionate. He didn't have to pretend, but he couldn't walk straight. I knew his ass felt literally. We've had sessions playing with each other's anal cavities. I wanted to be home before Quincy woke up, so I just told him I'm getting ready to go. He responded, "Let's have a cup of coffee first." This meant he wanted to talk. I didn't know what it was about, but in situations like this, I didn't really have a choice. He was becoming more violent when he didn't get what he wanted, and I didn't really want to fight, so I sat down. But before we started talking, Blank came out of the room. Sean was wearing his boxers. Blank was in his birthday suit. Blank addressed us morning. When he turned around in order to close the door, there was a dried cum stain on his back. Blank walked over, pulled the chair out to sit down next to us, and lit up a blunt. Sean stretched, smiled, and said, "The East-West Coast beef is more lucrative than I thought, but it's getting dangerous." Blank responded, surprised. "Business first thing in the morning? Damn, cuz you on it. But you know I don't got nothing to worry about. You got a pass, Daddy." X and Blank smiled coyly. Sean apparently had something to talk about with X as well, because he said, "I can't protect everybody, especially if someone is no longer going to be on my label." It was apparent that Blank was taken aback by this turn of events by his reply. "Sean, are you saying what I think you're saying?" Sean continued, "It's taxing on my resources to protect people. Someone that isn't 100% on my team can't get 100% of my protection." What the hell is going on here? What did Sean want from me? This morning is turning out to be way more than I expected, and I have to go. Quincy will be looking for me. Meanwhile, Blank apparently wanted clarity. So, to be clear, if something happened, Blank made a quotation with his fingers to one of your artists that was leaving your label anyway, would it be considered, he makes another set of quotation marks, out of your control? Is that what you're saying? Wait a minute. Can they be talking about Biggie? Is Sean saying he won't protect Biggie? At this point, I was too young, too naive, too hungover to understand that this was not a lack of protection, but this was a hit. Where did this come from this morning? But an older, wiser me understands now that what I did not comprehend all those years ago, Sean was just getting to the real reason he had Blank there. The world was about to lose Biggie. Blank laughed. "You a cold motherfucker," Sean said. "That's why the fuck should I protect someone that isn't gonna stick around? I made him. That nigga should be worshiping the ground that I walk on." I was thinking, Sean's ego is rearing its ugly head, and I wanted to get out of there. But instincts told me I need to tread carefully, so my next move had to be calculated. I don't really want any part of this. Not even implicity. But I was dragged right in the middle of it. What if what was happening here comes out? Will I be held as an accomplice? But even as those thoughts crossed my mind, I couldn't just pretend this was okay. So I said, but Sean, he hasn't left yet. They are just rumors. Are you going to let him die because of some rumors? Sean glared at me, the anger in his voice obviously stemming from hurt as he said, I know when I'm being betrayed. I'm not killing anyone, but I'm not protecting anybody that doesn't have my back 150%. Fuck that. This was railing out of control. My mind began to race. Is there a way to get through to him? Maybe I could use the finance route. Sean's bringing in so much money. You put so much money into cultivating him. Are you going to throw all that money away? That's when he revealed how thought out this meeting really was. If he leaves, he takes all the money I invested into creating him. Sean sighs. But if he can't protect himself and something terrible does happen, then the money I would make off his death would blow away all the money we made so far. I was perplexed. Sean, he continued, he's worth more to me dead than alive. Sean Combs is a calculated monster. Blank chimes in. I get that, fam. A lot of people out here want Biggie dead too. Without your protection, he doesn't stand a chance here in Cali. Biggie is gonna die. This is crazy. I dare not say anything else about it. Sean smiles and stands to walk over to a safe behind a picture. There, he pulls out a bag marked with Blank's name. He turns to Blank and says, that's why you're worth your weight in gold. You understand me. Here's a little something for you to take care of my people. X and Blank smile. Sean, I love you, baby. You know I got your back. Your problems are my problems. I'll make sure to have my people take care of your people. I need to get out of here. This is crazy. I attempted to leave again. Sean, I want to get Quincy before he wakes up. Sean looked at me, responding, it's getting late. Give him a kiss from me. I'm going to get out of here. Thank God. Blank always with something to say. I love to meet little Tyke sometime. Not a chance in hell. Something about this guy creeps me out. I forced a smile. That would be great. I made my exit. Chapter 10. The Lies You Tell. At this point, the relationship between Sean and I had been off and on for quite a while. And we were off at this point. He had put his hands on me again, this time for something that didn't even happen. It was all in his head. When the phone rang, I picked it up anyway. Hi, Sean. He sounded trepidatious, and he said, we've been broken up for a while this time. Yeah, he continued, I don't want anyone to know about my... He paused to search for the right word. Proliftivities? I replied, so you don't want people to know about you being gay? Sean exploded. See, that's why I fucking lose control on you. So I had plainly stated, goodbye, Sean. Wait, he screamed. What, Sean? I'm sorry, okay? You're always fucking sorry. He took a deep breath. I have something to cover myself. I sighed. Do whatever you fucking want, Sean. When you see this in the news, it's not real. This made me calm down a bit. What could he be talking about? He continued. I'm only doing it for the press. Doing what, Sean? After a long pause, he continued. She knows what this is. She's just pretending to cover me. Sean, what the hell are you talking about? Another pause. Publicity. I'm going to be dating someone else, a video girl. I laughed. Why would you do that? I have to cover myself. I was getting mad. I was actually angrier at myself more than at him. Why am I getting jealous? I was sitting there actually comparing myself to video vixens in my mind. They are thick, but look at my body. Did he prefer them light-skinned, big-butt girls from videos? I calm myself. No, I know he likes men. Any damn way. As I regained control, I asked, "Why the hell are you telling me?" He sighed. "I wanted you to find out for me first." Like I give a shit. He came at me with his favorite line. "You know I love you." It was getting old. I could only think to myself, here we go. Love is a big, strong word. I'm tired of him throwing it around and using it when he feels it fits. He's using it while he's sitting here telling me about dating someone else, I replied. You don't hit people you love, Sean. Love doesn't hurt. He sucked his teeth as he responded. Come on, are you serious? That shit's for children. We aren't in fucking high school. Sometimes things happen. That doesn't mean that I don't love you. I wouldn't hit you if I didn't. Wait, that sounded wrong. You said it exactly what you meant. He took a breath. There was an awkward silence. The fact that I was still on the phone waiting for him to speak meant that he had power. He was more cautious as he continued. He did not want to lose that power. Kim, no one that I don't care about can bring that kind of emotion out of me. I wanted to say, is that how you talk to dudes after using butt plugs? But there is a line I dare not cross. Instead, I said, you say that while you're dating some other bitch. That's just for the public. I was done. It could be heard in my voice as I said, whatever, Sean, do what you need to do. Leave me alone. I'm never giving up on us, he cried. I responded to that emotional control attempt with the little resolve I could muster. I didn't even believe the words that came tumbling out of my mouth. Sean, there is no us anymore. Goodbye. Tell Quincy I miss him, he threw out. His emotional manipulation was really driving me crazy. This time, I said with much more conviction, goodbye, Sean. I hung up. Manipulative bastard. Chapter 11. Mo Problems. For a while, I was actually happy to see Sean gone. I was getting older, and the sex parties were out of control. It was getting time for me to slow down. Quincy was getting older. I knew that if I kept going, the rumors circulating were going to eventually find a way to get back to him. What will he think of me? Chris is about to take his trip to California. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen out there, but I felt like Tiana Wallace was about to be an orphan. I knew I didn't want any ties to that. As I was sitting there contemplating all of this in my robe, I sipped my wine on this Friday evening. My doorbell rings. I was not expecting company. I opened the door and found Sean. My heart skipped a beat. I was shocked but recovered quickly. I forced a smile and told him with a slightly slurred speech, "Hey, come on in." Shit, I am more way intoxicated than I thought. Sean entered looking around suspiciously. Then turned to me and smiled, saying, "You haven't been returning my calls. I just wanted to make sure okay. I'm fine." He obviously was not here out of concern. He was checking to see who was here. Sean was controlling like that. Yes, even though we're not together, he was dating someone else. He started to make his way to the living room. I attempted to put a quick end to the visit, but it came out a little more directly than I intended. So, since you can see I'm fine, you can let me go to bed now. A part of me wanted him to stay. As he entered the living room, I was forced to follow. Sean was very direct with his next inquiry. Is someone else waiting for you? No. But Sean, we're not together. You're dating someone else. I can fuck whoever I choose. With this, Sean became irate. He fiercely slammed me to the ground. Then he pulled out a .22, and I sat it on the end of the table. He turned to me calmly. I was scared. My voice quivered as I pled to him. Sean, please stop. Quincy is here. How did we get here? How did we get to the point where he was in my living room threatening me with a gun? He knelt on one knee and got right in my face to say, "You're mine." You don't have a choice in that now. I can't live without you. He stood up, composing himself. I was terrified as he whimpered, Sean, that's not love. Sean picked up his gun and cocked it. He looked at me almost thoughtfully and asked, have you ever heard, if I can't have you, no one can? Sean, please don't. Please. Quincy will hear. Sean smiled and put the gun away, saying, oh, this is just for dramatic effect. I would never shoot you. If I was going to unalive you, no one will trace it to me. You know how many people I've had to take care of over the years? It would be quiet. Something in your food or drink. Something that will never get back to me. I wouldn't pow you. Do you understand? I could only nod, tears flowing down my cheeks. He looked at me thoughtfully. As he reached down to help me up, I could do nothing but agree. He's a terrifying monster. Now he wanted to smooth it over, and I had to go along with it. What else could I do? Listen, baby, I don't ever want to hurt you. You know, I really love you. Or would have I moved on? Thinking about my life with you is just too hard. If someone ever tried to hurt you, I would unalive them. My back hurt from where I tried to hit it on the table when he shoved me. All I could do as he helped me up was nod that I understood through my streaming tears, which he wiped. He looked toward Quincy's room. Let me say goodnight. No, Sean, please. He thinking quite quickly. He has to get up in the morning. Sean looked at me with an unreadable look. He was studying me. Okay, I'm gonna go. Nervously, I walked him to the front door. This is over, thank God. He kissed me. I didn't want him touching me, but I couldn't refuse. Kiss Quincy for me. I tried to keep my composure as I replied, sure, Sean. He opened the door to leave. The bodyguard that was waiting outside escorted him to the car. This was far worse than I realized. Why would he need a bodyguard at my front door? How was he anticipating this go? After I shut the door, I had another drink. For tonight, the nightmare was over. I sipped on my wine and cried. The next few days, he sent dozens of flowers. He brought Quincy expensive toys. He wanted me to keep his secret. I'm trapped. He has the authorities under his thumb. I can't go to them. This is like a gangster movie. How high up does his power go? How far is his reach? The FBI, the CIA, who is not corrupted or who won't get silenced by their upper chain of command? Can anyone help me and my child? He found his way back to my bed. I had no choice. Chapter 12, A Mama's Love. The calamity that issued behind the death of Biggie shook the East Coast. It rocked me as well. Sean could have stopped it. He was complicit in it. He was a contributor. He knew it was going to happen and didn't stop it. This was his friend. No, they were not as nearly close as Sean would have the public believe, but still. As far as Sean was concerned, we were great. To the public, we were just having the on and off again relationship of a normal couple. And I probably just seemed like a money-hungry hoe. But the truth is, I just got used to not having a choice. Today, I recognized it for what it was, Stockholm Syndrome. I was at his beck and call and had become comfortable with it. Quincy had everything he could ever want, with the exception, of course, a normal parental figure. This is why this chapter is so powerful for me. A mother's love is so real. One night I was out with my boyfriend. Yes, we were on again. And we were joined for dinner by none other than Miss Wallace. Sean looked over as security allowed Miss Wallace to approach the table and sit. Miss Wallace spoke with a smile. Hello, Sean. Hi, Kim. I smiled the best I could. What a situation. For all intent purposes, she is sitting with her son's killer. I hope my voice didn't betray my feelings as I said, hi, Miss Wallace. Sean smiled also as he said, hello, Miss Wallace. What can I do for you? When I got your call, it sounded urgent. He was able to appear as if he was smiling warmly. This was the creepiest situation of my entire life. She looked at Sean with pleading eyes. I know this isn't your problem, but things have gotten kind of hard. I was hoping that you can send some of that money Chris made with you this way. Sean shook his head. That's not something I can just do. There are attorneys and accountants. Can I maybe help you out with a little something to get you past the hump? Sean reached into his pocket to dig for his wallet. I haven't even seen how much Chris left. It's going on 2 years. Just how long is this going to take? Sean sighed as he replied, These things are difficult, Miss Wallace. I don't know. The attorneys don't make this easy. Miss Wallace pushed further. I don't understand what's so difficult. He worked for you. He made his money. Where is it? Sean shook his head as if saddened by what he was saying as he continued. It's not like I can just give you his money. You're entitled to certain amounts, and they are just trying to figure out what amount that is. I don't mean to sound cruel, but it wouldn't be fair to me to just give you tons of money. You got rich off of my son, and now you're keeping all of his money? Sean kept his cool as he replied, I'm afraid business isn't that cut and dry, Miss Wallace. I paid for publicity. In actuality, if I'm going to be straightforward, Miss Wallace, Chris probably owed me money. I won't know until it's all worked out. The anger in Miss Wallace's voice barely overshadowed the pain. Perhaps it is magnified. It uttered only the words she could muster. You bastard! Sean didn't flinch. He just said, Look at the contract. I'm honestly trying to get him as much as possible out of it. But I have investors. I can't just take money that doesn't belong to him and start giving it away. Miss Wallace exploded in response. You know good and well Chris didn't owe you a damn thing. Sean started to stare her in the face and said, he would have started making profit after a few years. His money into his album sales paid for studio time, music videos, publishing, and marketing would have come from doing shows. I'm sorry, he isn't here to make that money. I miss him. Her response was deadpan. Did you kill my son? Momentarily, Sean was stunned into silence. She asked again, her voice quivering. Did you? He started. Miss Wallace. She would not be redirected. Answer the question. I was not used to seeing Sean on the defense. No, of course not. She looked at him with spite. The anger in her voice was enough to send shivers up my spine as she replied with a menace only a mother can. I don't believe you, Sean. Sean looked at her with a sadness that I knew in my soul to be fake. Although looking at him without context, anyone would believe him. As he replied, I'm sorry to hear that. Today, I know he was able to muster that false sincerity because he's a sociopath. Back then, I thought it was compassion. With no more words, Miss Wallace stood up and left. Sean watched her exit in disbelief, not knowing what to do. I placed my order. Dinner that night was long and silent. I feared for Miss Wallace's life. Sean is the most dangerous when he feels threatened. No, she could not physically threaten him, but his threat was very real. If she goes public with her accusations, Sean's image will be damaged. I have felt for myself the extent he will go through in order to protect that image.